So, Betsy, where are you originally from?
I am originally from Efland, North Carolina, which is just outside of Chapel Hill.
Sure. Okay, cool. And you pass that to get to Greensboro.
Yeah.
I would pass that all the time. I went to Elon, so I would always
nice.
drive right by it. Yep. Yeah. Small world.
That is a small world. That's
I know.
good. Yeah. And did your parents always have a connection to here before they bought this house in 2012?
My dad's been coming down here for years. Yeah, because my godfather, who actually owns the house across the street from us, his business partner grew up down here. And so he would come with them for whether it was doing work on different houses down here or wind trips where they were going kiteboarding or sailing or something like that.
That's so cool.
And I also love the term wind trip. I've never heard of that.
Same.
Makes me really happy.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm going to go on a wind trip.
Sounds great.
So good. Things I didn't know existed until right now, Betsy. That's
my mom was always like, I don't understand why all of our family vacations have to be oriented around the wind. This is not
so good. So good.
That's a hoot. Well, Mary Cheatham, would you like to introduce our guest? Thanks to our friend and teammate Landy, we have Betsy here today.
That's exactly right. Thank you, Landy and Luca, for sending Betsy our way. We're very excited about interviewing her today. So guys, we have Betsy Bertram here with us today, and Betsy is a first-time filmmaker. Betsy currently lives in Beaufort, and the connection to Beaufort really is a lot through your dad and through your family growing up here, and now she lives here, you guys. And Betsy, it's such a cool story, y'all. Betsy recently made a film that is all about her father. So she lost her father, and kind of as she was working through that grief, she went back and picked up some early filmmaking that he had done, right? Some early documentaries and early things that he had filmed, and kind of traced it back and went on some really cool adventures, connecting with the outdoors and kind of tracing back where his incredible spirit originated and what it was that made him such a special person. So we're really excited to have Betsy on here today. The film is called Captain Scott B and the Great Adventure. And I know it's so good.
Feels like a warm hug.
Your dad is Captain Scott B. Love that. And so Betsy, I think just tell us a little bit about kind of how this came to be and what you see. You know, you've created this art kind of through your grief, and what you see the purpose of that being now moving forward as you're introducing it to audiences.
Oh, well, thank you all so much for having me here today. It's an honor to be here. Yeah, my dad always had a dream of making a movie that went way further back than his terminal cancer diagnosis, actually back to when he was in his early 20s, growing up on a farm in Hendersonville, North Carolina, which he would have fun fooling around with a Super 8 camera and shooting footage. So, and then when he received a terminal diagnosis and knew that he only had about a year left to live, he picked back up the camera and was totally focused and immersed in the idea of telling a story about how exceptional and magical and extraordinary it is just to be alive, and what a gift every day it is to get outside and feel the fresh air on your skin, to look up and see the sky. One of the things he said often in that last year, as we were filming all over the place, everywhere we went with the camera, including lots of trips down to Beaufort. So there is lots of local footage, both here and over at AB. And he would say, look up, we're never going to see the sky just like this again. And that's really, I think, at the heart of what this film is about. It's about taking in the beauty, taking in the magnificence that's all around us that we so easily take for granted and miss in the busyness and chaos of our everyday lives, and to connect to what really matters to you, whatever that is in your life. And so often those things are the small things and not necessarily the big things. So that's what took me on my journey. One of the promises he had me make when he was in his final weeks was to turn my grief into art, because he knew what a loss that would be. He was a stay-at-home dad and grew up, bringing my sister and I down to Beaufort on many trips. Actually, my childhood babysitter lives in Morehead City, so that was always a fun connection too. And we would come down and go kiteboarding and surfing and take bike rides. So this place has always been really special, and it's such a gift to get to share the film with our community here.
That is so neat. Now, quick follow-up question. What are some, I'm sure you growing up learned so many things from your dad, and were there things that you didn't know before that you learned from rewatching the footage and putting this together from him?
Yeah, that's such a great question. I think that what I learned is the importance of slowing down. When my dad was diagnosed, I was in my early 20s, which I think a lot of people can relate to as a time in life when it feels like everything's sort of in takeoff mode. And I was definitely, a doer and wanting to fill the calendar and do all these things. And as I've rewatched that footage again and again, I am reminded of how important it is to slow down, because it's when we slow down that we're able to really let the fullness of the experiences we're in sink in and really permeate us in a different way. And so that's what I've learned from my dad and rewatching. And I've also gotten better at making some of the family recipes that are included in the film. Watching the steps again and again has helped me master some of those more difficult techniques. So
that is so cool. What's your favorite one? What's your favorite family recipe?
I think the favorite one is the one that's sort of primarily featured in the film, which is called cocoa sponge roll, which was actually a recipe that was in my grandma's cookbook. And it's this incredible chocolate whipped cream roll. And it's just beautiful and delicious and really a spectacular treat.
And you guys served that at the premiere that you had recently at the community college. Is that right?
Yes, we were so
How
grateful
fun.
to Carteret Community College bringing that to their film series. And it was awesome because their pastry chef made the cake. And so everyone was able to get to experience that after the screening. And there's also available, which I'll send to you all and you can include for listeners out there today, there's a really cool video that the filmmaker made that walks people through how to make it. So if you watch the trailer and you're, really have to have a piece of that cake, you'll have the recipe. And
that's so cool.
I love that. That's really neat.
I think that's so cool. That's amazing. So, Betsy, I was not able to come to the premiere. So if I've not seen the movie, how can I see this? Because I'm dying to watch it.
Well, it's so good to answer that, because there's a lot of different things coming up, which are exciting. One of which is if you're local and you can make the trip, there's going to be a screening at UNCW, so UNC Wilmington, on April 27th at 6:30. And information about that will be on our website, which is captainscottb.com. Right now, you can go and watch the trailers on there. There's some extended trailers as well. And then coming soon, so just stay posted on the website, and you can always sign up for our newsletter. It will be available for Vimeo download for you to watch and share with your family and friends. And what we're really passionate about doing and why it's not available online yet is doing these community screenings like we've done at Carteret Community College and at various film festivals. So we premiered at the Carborough Film Festival and are in the process of submitting to lots of other festivals. But we are also doing these screenings at organizations, corporations, universities, institutions of all kinds, because our purpose with having the film is to start and facilitate conversations about grief. And the film is really a great access point to that. And I think that in the wake of the last 2 years that we've all been through, it's more important than ever to have those difficult conversations.
Yeah. And what a neat thing to be able to watch alongside coworkers or teammates or family even. I think that's a really neat thing that you're offering.
I think so too. And I think especially being from North Carolina, I'm just really excited about that part and the footage and the nature. And not just the messaging, but also the visuals of it. I was blown away by that in the trailers that I've been able to watch. So that's really incredible.
Thanks for sharing that. Our filmmaker, Matthew Shanae, is also from North Carolina. And I think that he just did a spectacular job capturing the incredible resources that our state has, from mountains to sea. So you won't be disappointed by the scenery.
Yeah, they were beautiful just on my computer screen. So yeah, absolutely. So Betsy, before Meg asks you our final question, the one thing I want to ask you is, to your point, I do think that a lot of people have been and are continuing to struggle with grief, given everything that we've had going on. So, the interesting concept about turning your grief into art, and that your dad said that was what he wanted for you. So I'm sure that you want that for other people, because it sounds like it's been an incredibly healing process for you. So if someone is grieving and you were to give them some advice about how to turn that grief into art or how to channel it through art, what advice would you give them?
That's such a great question. I think it really is more important than ever. I think one thing that makes grief particularly difficult is that our culture doesn't really have vernacular for it. And it's uncomfortable. And we tend to avoid things that are uncomfortable. And as Laura Wallace, who is a grief specialist in the film, told me one day, that grief is love with nowhere to go. And so art is this great place to pour that love into and to be able to metabolize grief, because grief is also energy that is, stored in our body if we don't process it. And so I encourage people to find something to pour that love into, whatever that love was, whether it's for a person or a pet or a part of your identity that you lost. I think loss too, we sometimes think about in one sort of box, but loss is this very universal and at once highly individualized experience. So find something that speaks to you. Find something that makes you want to take that love and create something from it. I think that it really helped me to have this outlet, and it also made me prioritize processing it, because there's nothing less fun than like digging into the hard feelings. And so having a medium to work in can be really helpful, and whatever it is, find something that feels good to you. Filmmaking was totally not something I knew anything about. My creative processes that I usually go to are drawing and watercolor and writing. And so this was new for me. And so whether it's finding something that you already like that feels, comfortable and supportive for you, or delving into something completely new and picking up a new art form that you've never considered, and really treating that as an intentional practice around creating a container for your grief, and creating a container for that love, so that you feel the connection grow deeper, instead of, more distant as you move through loss.
Man,
that's so good.
That's
great
so
advice.
good. That's really good advice. That's really good advice. Well, Meg, would you like to ask Betsy our final question?
I would. Betsy, first of all, thank you for
No
being here. I
kidding.
feel very fired up right now.
I really do too.
Yeah,
I feel
I'm very inspired.
Yes,
That's
I'm
the
definitely going to go
first
for
one.
my walk today. I've really been trying to walk every day. I'm going today.
And you can look up at the sky.
I know, and
I
think
love
it'll
that.
never look just this way again. It'll never be just the sky again.
That's so
I love
good.
that.
So Betsy, before we hop off, we are curious, what has been saving your life lately?
The same thing that's been saving my life for 2 years through the pandemic, which is every day, my partner and I do a yoga class out here on this deck where I am standing right now for the interview. And my teachers, Summer and Paul Sobin, have their videos all online. So it's actually something that I can share with you all. So if you're looking for something to save your life, 1,000 Petals Yoga is their yoga, and they have you can trial for free, and it's totally worth it. It's the only subscription that I am on. It's $25 a month, and it's unlimited classes, and I do one every day, and I feel like that's saving my life. They have meditation and all these different classes, and they also bring a lot of fun and goofiness, and they're in the film. So if you watch the film, you'll see them in there too, and it's just a really beautiful way for me to stay grounded, to stay centered, and to continually wake myself up to the wonder all around.
That's good.
I love that. So 1,000 Petals Yoga. We can post a link in the comments. We'll also post a link to the website and to the recipe, because I selfishly want to know.
I want that too.
Yes. Coke sponge roll might just save someone's life. I mean,
No kidding. It sounds life-saving.
I'm
It
ready
can
for
turn a
that.
day around for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Anything else, MC? Before
No,
we
but
hop
this
off?
was just awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Betsy. We really
Thank you
appreciate
guys
your
so
time
much.
and can't wait to see the film. Thank you.
Oh, thank you all.
Have a good weekend.
Bye, Betsy.